Boys, girls, all my trombaholics out there, welcome back to Otherobert, and this is the first time, I believe, ever on Otherobert. I could be mistaken, but I believe this is the first time that the channel Otherobert has ever had an album review, an actual album review, and I have to say that this is quite the debut video for this type of medium, because I am reviewing Panic at the Disco's new album, Death of a Bachelor. They have released plenty of singles in anticipation for Death of a Bachelor, and we've really had 5 songs come out before this. We've had Hallelujah, Death of a Bachelor, Victorious, Emperor's New Clothes, and LA Devotee. We got 6 more on the album: Golden Days, House of Memories, The Good, Bad, and the Dirty, Don't Threaten Me with a Good Time, and Impossible Year. Now, I know what you're thinking. For those of you who are not avid listeners of Panic at the Disco, you're saying, those are the guys that did I Write Sins, Not Tragedies. Yes, but they've done plenty since then. They're actually a very good band. It's actually pretty much down to one guy at this point. So, this album was pretty much all Brendan Urie, and it was very different. Really, you see how far they've come and how much they've evolved. Or I keep saying they, but you know what I mean. With Panic at the Disco, also. You know how much Panic has evolved, and this album is extremely different than what we've heard before. We expected that with the 5 singles, and we got that with the rest of the album. Death of a Bachelor is a phenomenal album. Actually, personally, for me, it's one of the best albums I've actually ever heard. I know that's really pushing it, but each song really can be its own. It has its own identity, and really, every song could be a single. I could hear every single one of these songs on the radio, and there's some songs that are kind of hidden in there that I feel are gold, and really people need to be listening to these. So if you're not a fan of Panic at the Disco, pause now, go hear the entire album, and then come back, because it's really that good. I'm just going to quickly run through all the songs there. Hallelujah was actually their most successful song since I Write Sins, Not Tragedies, which is good. And Hallelujah is kind of a fun, kind of upbeatish kind of song. Makes you say hallelujah. But it really has an interesting kind of sound, a little poppy, a little upbeat and everything. And it really, you see the range in this album. I'm not going in the order of the track list on the album. Personally, for me, I was just going off of the order in which the singles came out. But really, every song has its own sound. And you hear that with, I'll go next, Impossible Year, which is actually my favorite song on the entire album. And this is very, very just kind of Sinatra-esque, this song. And it's so interesting. It really is. And it's not a song you expect to hear these days. And it's cool and unique in that way. And Brendan Urie, hell of a singer, and brings this type of classic, what would feel like kind of a 90s jazzish type song. I don't know. It's so unique, and he puts it in the modern day, and it really has a cool sound to it. And like I said, favorite song on the album is Impossible Year. But then you have all the songs like Crazy Equals Genius, which is what Brendan Urie said is kind of based off of Sing Sing Sing, the song that's been in all types of commercials and everything. And that's, a little bit more upbeat. It's swinger type, music, and it's so fun and interesting. And personally, for me, every time I hear it, I kind of just remember, even though Sing 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 wasn't the song, in The Mask song where they're dancing and everything in the streets, that's what it reminds me. It's just such a good time, fun song, and that is definitely one of the best songs on the album, I would say. Crazy Equals Genius. But then you have a bunch of just singles that they had released, which are all just great, and Emperor's New Clothes and Death of a Bachelor, which really shows off Brendan Urie's range, and again, kind of has that Sinatra-esque sound, which not every song has on this album. And the songs that do, I like this direction. I think this direction is the direction they need to kind of go because it sets himself apart. It really gives Panic kind of its own. It always had a unique sound, but really just kind of turning that up to 10 notches and in a different way. And to see a band kind of reinvent itself in this way is superb. And it's something that I think the music industry is lacking in this sense because this was something completely different and unique and new. And I think we need to see more of this type of music because it's missing. And there's a gap here for this. But they didn't only go with this kind of newish kind of sound. I would say they actually kind of added in some songs like The Good, the Bad, and the Dirty and Don't Threaten Me with a Good Time. And those kind of sound classic Panic-ish. They kind of sound like a Fever, just the Fever album. I'm speaking, and I feel like a lot of people don't really know Panic at the Disco, so I'm trying to say, like, I'm trying to introduce you here. It sounds like one of their earlier albums. It sounds like It sounds like early Panic. And for classic fans of Panic, there you go. That's because Panic, like I said, has evolved, and people either love where they're going or they hate it. And if they hate it, then you still have some of these songs which are very reminiscent of early Panic. So you still have a few songs on there. Victorious, which is a really fun song, is on there. You got Golden Days, which kind of sounds a little bit different. It doesn't exactly sound like classic Panic, and it doesn't sound like the newer Panic. It sounds kind of like a different rock band. I know Brendan Urie had said for a part of that song or something along those lines, he'd been influenced by Weezer and had kind of a Weezer-esque sound, and I see that. It's very, very different than what you expect with Panic, and in a good way. I mean, this album is just so diverse, really, from start to finish. You start off with Victorious, and then you get to Impossible Year, and those are two very, very different sounds. And then all the sounds that you have in between, and really just every song is unique. House of Memories, a little bit of a slower song, not along the lines of Impossible Year, but I guess what you would come to expect from Panic. Good. I mean, there is not a weak song on this album. If I had to pick a song that doesn't kind of match the rest, I would say L.A. Devotee. And I think that's only me, because L.A. Devotee people love. So, this is something else. And this is something that I think everyone watching this needs to listen to, is Panic at the Disco's Death of a Bachelor, the album. Really, really unique stuff, really different, and I could talk about this forever, but I'm going to stop now because I've been going on way too long. Go check out Death of a Bachelor by Panic at the Disco. Let me know what you thought, and what was your favorite song on the album? And do you like this new type of sound that they've been going? I liked the sound with the last album. I loved the song Girls, Girls, Boys. That's one of my favorite songs. I wanted more of kind of that electro-y type music, but they completely went with this. I love this more. So really just Panic constantly just evolving and doing new things here. So let me know what your thoughts were for Death of a Bachelor. What was your favorite song? What was your least favorite song? And subscribe because it takes around this much effort to do so. Until next time, you have been traumatized.